Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we found ourselves in Newark Airport. This is our connecting city on a flight from Chicago to Munich. And today we were flying on United Business Class. We got ourselves acquainted with the airport after arriving, and we're loving the views of New York City out the window. We also couldn't believe the number of United planes here. The orientation of the gates made it look like there were United planes everywhere. After geeking out over all the planes in the window, we made our way to the United Polaris Lounge. The United Polaris Lounge in Newark is the second largest Polaris Lounge in the US. Unlike the United Club lounges, which you might be used to in United hubs, the United Polaris Lounge is a higher-level specialty lounge designed specifically for international passengers flying on United flights. These lounges have a full-service bar, a buffet area, showers, restrooms, and even a full-service dining room. The design of these lounges screams elegance, and we really enjoy spending time here. So far we've only been in the Polaris Lounge in Chicago, which was also a good experience. This lounge is so much larger and had so much more seating. To be honest, the views here were a lot better than Chicago as well. You get a view right out over the apron. It's really an aviation geek's dream. Since I had really only had a small breakfast at this point, I decided to get some lunch in the sit-down dining room. I went with the signature burger and potato wedges. It would have been nice to get a few more potato wedges, and the burger was a little overdone, but I can't complain too much after all this was free, and I could order anything else I wanted in addition. Not wanting to fill up too much before my flight, I decided to just settle for a skillet cookie with ice cream, which was so divine. After getting some food, I walked around the lounge and looked for a place to sit. After all, I wanted to get some work done while I was here. There's so many different seating areas. Some away from the windows, some near the windows. There's also a few private rooms, if you're lucky enough to get those. And then there's also these lounge chairs, which are actually quite large and made for a very comfortable seat. Even though this lounge is huge and there's so many people here, the seating arrangements and all of the different areas make it seem fairly private. And also, you can't beat these views. Of course, there's also free Wi-Fi, which was extremely fast. I also had to check out the bathrooms, and they were amazing, by far the best lounge bathrooms we've ever been in. There's also shower stalls here, but we didn't need to use those just yet. Having gotten my fill of the Polaris Lounge, and due to the fact that my flight was about to board, I made my way back through the airport to the gate. Our flight today would take off to the north, hugging the east coast, flying over New Brunswick and Newfoundland, passing over the British Isles, and landing in Munich. Total flight time today was 8 hours and 10 minutes. Today I was taking my flight to Munich on a Boeing 767-300, which unfortunately I couldn't see very well out the windows due to the orientation of this gate. United has 3 different seating variations of the 767-300. The one that I was on was extremely business class heavy, with 46 business class seats taking up over half of the airplane. On this plane, there were also 22 Premium Plus seats and 89 economy seats. These seats are laid out in a very unique configuration, with the United Polaris suite style seating in a 1-1-1 configuration. I booked this flight fairly last minute, but I was determined to get a window seat. Of course, all of the outside seats are window seats, but there are some seats that are more tucked in than others, and they alternate, with the odd rows being closer to the windows. Again, because I booked so late, I was in row 17, one from the back of the business class cabin. Immediately I was impressed by this seat. The United Business Class product on these international flights is just amazing. The seat is very comfortable, and it's a very cozy setup. If you're a larger person, squeezing into the seat might be a little bit difficult, but once you get through the aisle, it really opens up, and it's a large space. Directly next to the seat is a cabinet for storage, and mine had issues closing, but that didn't really affect my experience too much. There's also plugs directly next to the seat, as well as a reading light. There's also this nice little ambiance light, which you can turn on and off right near the aisle. The tray table comes out from below the TV screen, and is quite large. It's also nice that you can move it out of the way so that you can still keep the tray table open while getting out of your seat. There is a little storage area below the TV where I kept my passport and things. There are tons of switches with this little dial that helps you move your seat into the lie-flat position, and of course you can move your legs and lumbar support independently of the rest of the seat. There's also a USB port right by the TV, which was very useful. One nice thing about these seats is that when you put into the lie-flat position, you can move the armrests down and out of the way, which unfortunately was a little bit difficult, but I got it to work. There's plenty of leg room, and plenty of room for sleeping. I got an amenity kit on this flight as well, which, as it always is with United Business Class, is an away mini suitcase. This is by far one of our favorite amenity kits. Inside, there was so much stuff. We, of course, had an eye mask with earplugs, a dental kit, Sunday Riley moisturizers and other products, a pen, some socks, and a few other items. It was everything we would need for this flight. And of course we would be keeping this away suitcase container. Right on time, we pushed back from the gate and made our way out to the runway. It was the late afternoon, so the airport was at its busiest. We taxied for about 25 minutes before finally lining up and soaring into the sky. Onward to Munich. It sure was a beautiful day for a flight. After the captain turned off the fasten seatbelt sign, I made my way to the bathroom to wash up a bit for dinner. The bathrooms in the business class are okay. They're nothing special on this plane, but they do have some good amenities, and they were clean the whole time. When I got back to my seat, I took a look at the menu. This was really just for information on what the appetizer and dessert could be, because I had already booked my order for my dinner online before my flight. I would strongly recommend this for anyone flying on United, because they tend to run out of just about everything if you don't. The flight attendant brought around my drink and some warm nuts, and shortly after brought out my meal, which consisted of a salad. The appetizer was a salmon dish, and then for my main, I got the flat iron steak with potatoes and creamy spinach. It was absolutely delicious and cooked very well. For dessert, I decided to go with the sundae. It was actually quite novel. They brought a little cart around and actually made the sundae right there for you. This was so much better than our experience on the 757 to Dublin that we took last year. You can check out that review in the video link down below. After dinner, I decided to check out the Inflight Entertainment. After all, I wanted to watch a movie or two before trying to get some sleep. The IFE system on United has always been decent. The remote is right next to the seat, easily accessible, and easy to use. You also get some United branded headphones, which are just okay. Sound quality's good, but definitely not noise canceling. There are plenty of movies and shows that you can watch, and of course you can always watch the map as well. That being said, I got out my Saks Fifth Avenue bedding, with my regular pillow and memory foam pillow that they give you on business class on United. I got one of the best nights of sleep on a plane that I've ever gotten in this business class. The bedding is so comfortable, and the layout of this cabin makes it extremely private and easy to catch a few Z's. After sleeping for about 4 hours, I woke up to see us over the British Isles. The sun was rising, and it was absolutely beautiful outside. It was great to open the window and let some of that natural light in. Hopefully this would help fight the jet lag. About 40 minutes before landing, the flight attendants brought around breakfast. Unfortunately, I did feel like I had to rush through this because we had pretty much started our descent already. But anyway, the breakfast was amazing. With it we got eggs and sausage, mushrooms, potatoes, spinach, a croissant roll, some yogurt, and some fresh fruit. I also got a glass of orange juice and a much needed hit of caffeine, just some black coffee. We glided gently down into Munich's airspace and sat down peacefully at about 7 in the morning. We were right on time. We pulled up to Terminal 2 and deboarded the plane without any issue. As we walked to the baggage claim, let's do a quick recap about what we thought of this flight. First, let's talk about the lounge. I have to say right away that the United Polaris lounges are some of my favorite lounges that we've ever been to. They're always clean, neat, very cozy, very comfortable, and have great food, including a la carte dining. You don't really get that very much with American carriers. Not only that, but there was quick Wi-Fi and plenty of places to sit. There was also a full-service bar, and even showers. We have to give this lounge a 5 out of 5. So what did I think about the seats? These seats are amazing. They're comfortable, they have a great IFE system, and the bedding was amazing. And the ones by the windows are private. Now if you do happen to get a seat that's closer to the aisle, you might not like it as much. It's also nice that you don't have a seat partner. These seats are all singular. It's a 1-1-1 layout, and that's just perfect for single travelers. This seat definitely earns a 5 out of 5. So what do we think about the food? Well, the food on this flight was a lot better than the food we got on our other United flight to Dublin. However, it was still just okay, a little bit above average for airline food. We will give an extra point for having great food in the lounge. There the food is above average for lounge food. So we'll give the food a 4 out of 5. Now what about the service? If you remember on our last United trip, the service was lackluster. The service on this flight was a lot better. However, it was very difficult for the flight attendants to adequately deal with 18 rows of business class. It seemed like the plane was a bit understaffed. This meant that the people in the first row were getting their food about an hour earlier than the people in the last row, which meant that I pretty much had to rush through my meal right before landing. However, the flight attendants were all very cheerful, very nice, and had a great demeanor. We would rate the service on this plane as a 4 out of 5. So what about the value for money? Well, to be honest, I'm not even going to say what we spent on this flight. It was part of a last-minute fare that we had booked, and it really isn't characteristic of what these seats usually cost. Still, business class in United can be extremely expensive. Of course, there are great perks to flying with United on an international flight, including the Polaris Lounge and the great service that you get, which we would say is probably at a premium. Looking at the United website, we can see the same flight in a round-trip circumstance costing nearly $4,000. Generally, we don't like to get into the habit of paying $4,000, $5,000, or $6,000 for a single ticket, and there are plenty of other carriers that will allow you to fly for much cheaper on the same route, though you might need to make a connection somewhere else. However, I did have a great time on this flight. The lounge was great, the service was decent, and the product is amazing. Thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you in the next one.